Hey guys, welcome back to Revolution XRC and welcome to the next part of my Element Enduro Builder's Kit build series. We've finally come towards the conclusion of this build where I finally reveal the final setup. There are a few things I'll go over today. First, I'm going to go over some of the lighting that I'm going to be using, as well as some of the 3D printed parts that I created for this build. First things first, let's go over some of the electronics that I've chosen to use with this build. I don't believe I've ever gone with an overview of the electronics on this build so far. As you can see right here, I am using the Hobbywing Quick Run Fusion brushless ESC motor combination. It's got really good low speed control, and I like that it just kind of saves space because you don't need a separate ESC and motor. One of my goals in this build is to minimize the wiring, which it doesn't look like it from what I have here, and I'll go over that in just a minute. But we'll see that when I'm kind of finished with this build, you'll see that there's going to be minimal wiring and it's going to be a very clean looking chassis. For the servo, I am using a myTrickRC Katana 500 ounce servo. It's got 500 ounces of torque at 7.4 volts. I believe it can support 8.4 volts, which would be around 556 ounces of torque. So that is something I'll discuss further. It's one of the vendors I'm working with, and I'll provide a link to this in the description once they get their site up and going. But definitely like this servo a lot, pretty happy with it, and I'll put a link to it in the description below, as well as the link to the Hobbywing Quick Run Fusion. Now, with this chassis, I've been trying to decide how I want to mount up some of the LED lighting that I want to use. I kind of want a glow inside the cab of the body that I'm using, which is the Power Wagon cab. So one of the challenges was to find the right LEDs to use, and thankfully myTrickRC was able to show me that they had available these nice single LED wafer lights. So this particular product comes as a single strand with two LED wafers, and they come in different colors. This one happens to be red, and you'll get to see it lighted up in just a minute after I clean all the wiring up. But I'll put a link to this in the description below when they have it. I don't believe they have this product on their site yet, but definitely keep an eye out for this product. I think it's going to be a cool product. I believe he also might be making housings for these, so you can kind of see the nice applications that it could have. So definitely keep an eye out for these on myTrickRC. Once again, these come in multiple colors, single strand with two wafer lights. Definitely handy. I will definitely find a use for these type of LED lights in many of my builds. They do recommend that these be kept to 5 volts. So coming to my next point, myTrickRC also has this product, which is a light regulator, and it basically takes whatever voltage you have it set up, like a 7.4 volt or a higher voltage, and steps it down to 5 volts. So since my ESC or receiver is set at 7.4 volts or ESC, in order to give my servo 7.4 volts, you don't want to overpower these wafer LEDs, which take 5 volts, and so I had to use this to step it down to 5 volts. And I'll put a link to this in the description below. They do have this product on the myTrickRC website. Last but not least here, right here I have a Hey OK receiver controlled switch, and basically this just allows you to turn on and off a channel of your choice. So this is currently hooked up to my third channel on my FlySky GT5 controller, and it just turns on and off my lights. And I'll put a link to this in the description below as well. And for my radio setup, like I previously mentioned, I am using a FlySky GT5 radio with a FSBS6 receiver, 6-channel receiver, I believe, and I'll put a link to those in the description below as well. So the first thing you'll notice on this chassis is I have a few 3D printed parts on here. You'll notice my mid-chassis brace slash head rack, I guess you would call it, and my bed, which also has a chassis brace underneath. These are all 3D printed parts. I am thinking of making this available on myTrickRC, a vendor I'm working with. So I'm not sure if I'll provide this yet, but when I do, I'll probably provide it and put it on their store when they launch. Also up here, you'll notice that I have a custom-made receiver box where I could stuff all my wiring, including all this stuff. Basically, it sits in the other servo location on top of the servo tray, and this extension here is to just fit even more items, in this case the standard light controller as well as the rest of the wiring for this LED strip right here. And this receiver box I made so that you can either choose to add this portion on or not, and you can take a look at this here. This portion is removable, so you could just run this box here if you want to, but if you need this extra space storage right here, you can add that on. In the case that you do not use that extra storage, there is a plug here to seal off that compartment or that gap right here. So I've already thought for that, and basically this will go over like this and seal all that up. So let me go ahead and start wiring this up, tuck all the wires away, and we can see how clean the chassis looks. Alright, it's been a while since I last took video for this episode. It's been a few weeks of hiatus in between filming, so I forgot where I left off, but here is the final look at the rig, and here is the body. It is a Power Wagon body that is magnet mounted on. So I 3D printed, or I designed and 3D printed some of this louver system for the windows on the Power Wagon body. Also designed this roof rack right here. Here on the body, since the last time, you'll see that I've added a 3D printed figure inside. This is just so I can kind of keep the weight down but still have a driver. And it's all magnet mounted to the rock parts tray via magnets right here. So, and you'll notice that this build also has minimal wiring, or actually minimal visible wiring. A lot of the wiring is up here in this 3D printed receiver box and extension box that I've created just to house the receiver and some of the light controllers right there. I've also designed these magnet mounts for this Power Wagon body, and apparently it'll stick to the motor, but so I've got magnets up here in the front as well as here in the rear. Now here is the updated Rock Pirates RC battery tray with the slots for the battery straps. So this is a welcome update for this Rock Pirates battery tray. I can utilize the battery straps from the stock Enduro now. Here's a look at my 3D printed bed that I designed for this rig. Got some scale additions in there. And I've also added some water jugs, also magneted to the bottom. And we'll go ahead and take a look at this in the garage and see how it looks all together. Once again, I think I explained it earlier, but here are the LED wafer lights that I have. One's there, and one is housed underneath. right there. I don't know if you can see that. And of course, body goes on just like that. Alright, here's a look at the rig with the lights on. You can see I've got the red rock lights going on underneath, as well as the red lights going on inside the cab. And we'll take a good look at the rig. Here's the 3D printed front bumper that I designed up. Overall, this was a pretty fun project. I got to design a lot of 3D printed parts for this rig. Really excited to get this rig out on the trails, and certainly it's going to look like a fun rig to run. So I think there's a few more cosmetic details that I would like to add to this rig, but as far as that goes, this rig is pretty much done. I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. This is the first time I've designed up so many 3D printed parts for a rig, and I'm pretty happy with the results. Always room for improvement, but hey, it's a start and it came out pretty good. So I can't wait to get this out on the trails and take this for a spin. So given that there's a number of parts from myTrickRC, this is now dubbed my Pirate Wagon. So I hope you enjoyed this Pirate Wagon build. It was definitely fun to design stuff in 3D, print it out for this rig, and I definitely can't wait to get it out on the trails. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for future updates on this Element Enduro Builders Kit Pirate Wagon build. Thanks for watching.